Good afternoon. We're joined here today by head football coach Gary Watkins. Coach Watkins, thanks for joining us today.
Glad to be here today.
Hey, good victory past weekend, 35-20 over Ventura College. We're 2-0, tied for first place in the SCFA, National Southern League, tied with Golden West College. I have to ask you from the get-go here, how big of an exhale did you have when that clock finally hit 0-0-0?
I'll tell you, Bo, it was quite the relief. I mean, we prepped hard all week. We prepared, got our boys ready. The coaches worked tremendously hard, and to see our game plan come to fruition in the way in which it did, and then when that clock hit zero, it's just a pure joy of knowing that you knocked off the number 3 team in the state. When more than likely nobody in the entire state gave us a chance in that game, but our guys continued to believe. They trusted the process, and the result was ours.
Absolutely. And one of the things with that game, I know you and I have talked about this before, but we knew that Ventura College wasn't going to go away, especially in the division that we're in. There is no such thing as an easy game because all the teams are tough. Ventura has weapons all across the board. So we knew it would be a dogfight, and it was. However, were there moments in the game where we thought that, we could have somewhat put this away a little earlier? And also a little bit of top of my head, I can think of 2 self-inflicted wounds, 2 holding calls that brought back the touchdowns. What's the message to the team and your players as far as cleaning that up?
Yeah, so we get the boys in here on Monday and we correct the mistakes. We show them where we need to be better and how we need to execute in those critical situations. But we're constantly preaching to our guys that we're not really concerned with what has already happened. It's what's next, and so fumbling the ball on the 1-yard line, having 2 touchdowns called back, that sucks, right? Nobody likes that. Nobody enjoys those moments. But for our guys, it's all about what do we do with that information and how do we perform now? And so the idea of putting the team away early, like that doesn't really cross our mind because we're trying to play that game for 60 minutes regardless. And if the game takes more than 60 minutes, we're down for that too, And so I don't really feel like that moment really crossed our mind, like, oh, let's put them away early. It's, hey, let's continue to play to our standard of performance, which entails us playing every single play as its own play. And we'll deal with what happens with that last play the next day. Our job is to keep playing the next play, make sure that we're keeping ourselves in that game and ultimately finishing it so that we do get the result when that clock hits 0.
Coach, would you agree with me that this was a team win? In most games, right, there could be a individual performance. I know we always talk about team, but you can always highlight a performance by a single player. However, in this game, let's start off with the defense, the special teams, the offensive line, who sometimes we don't talk about enough, which, depending on who you ask, could be a good thing because the less we talk about them means they're doing their job. Right. Would you agree that this was a team win? And probably say we won all 3 phases of the game?
Yeah, it was definitely a team win, Bo. Our defense, our offense, our special teams units, they all rose to the occasion. They all did what they were asked to do. We challenged them pregame to just play as hard as they could for 60 minutes. Don't worry about the scoreboard. That's my job. My job is to manage the game. Their job is to go out there and compete as fast as they can from point A to point B for 5 to 6 seconds as hard as they can. And our groups did that defensively. They stood up versus a very good Ventura offense. Made some plays, forced some turnovers, scored some points, got off the field on 3rd down. I think Ventura was 3 for 17 on 3rd down. And so getting off the field was a big deal, flipping field position for us with turnovers. Special teams wise, they're very aggressive and very good on special teams. And our punt team did a great job of flipping the field. Punt protection was amazing. They came after almost every single punt. Kickoff coverage, we went into the game saying, after watching their film from the previous week, one of the main points all week was that we could not allow them to score on defense and we could not allow them to change the game on special teams. And we did that, And so we talk about our offense. Gunnar Gray stepped up in a big way, like just matured in front of us that night, managed the offense, protected the football, except for that one on the goal line. But did the things that he needed to do to get us in the right plays. Wide receivers made big time catches in critical moments. And offensive line, anybody knows me, I'm a former offensive line guy. We take great pride in our offensive line here. Coach Chevy does an amazing job prepping those guys both physically and mentally every single week. And so for our guys to go out there and only give up 1 sack in a situation where I walked into that team meeting on Sunday and I owned that one. That one was on me. I should have called a better play down there on the 1. But they do a great job of prepping every single week to handle the pressure that you do see in the national conference of the SCFA. And so you're right. It was an all around team victory. I was very pleased with our effort. I was very pleased with our composure. I was ecstatic that we did not flinch when everything wasn't going our way and that we battled for 60 minutes.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I noticed with this game is, when things got a little bit tighter, I think every single group talking to relax, we're ahead, we'll be fine, especially considering some of the turnovers that we had late into the third quarter, where we could have possibly put this thing away, but obviously went the other way. And just to highlight a little bit more on my punts, averaging almost 40 yards, two of them inside the 20.
Donovan Warren has been phenomenal for us thus far through the season. We've asked Donovan to do multiple styles of punting, typical pro style punting as well as rugby punting.
Mm-hmm.
He's a phenomenal punter. I mean, he has a strong leg. He's extremely accurate, and a lot of times that phase of the game is oftentimes underrated. But the ability to field with someone's leg is a weapon for us. It truly is a weapon, and so we're looking forward to Donovan continuing his performance for the remainder of the season.
And we also got to add your long snapper, right? Especially how the operation time of the snaps and the field goals, because Ventura did come after you guys quite a bit. So much credit to the snapper and the performance that they did.
Yeah, our operation between our punter and our snapper, Connor Chase, is phenomenal. Not only is Connor a phenomenal long snapper, but he's athletic enough to get down there and force, fair catches and be in on tackles and force returns in the direction that we want them to go. And so that entire unit's a weapon. It's a weapon. And so last week we made a couple changes, and I challenged Coach Chevy and Coach Cleary, who are running the punt team. Mm-hmm. I challenged them to go out and find the baddest dudes we got in our program, because that's the guys we want on the punt team. We want those guys who are willing to stick their nose in there and block and then run down and like crazy men and make a tackle, because that is, it's such an important part of the game that oftentimes goes overlooked. The starting position of an offense is directly correlated with where they start that drive or that series. And so for us, we're preaching that field position battle every single week.
Sure. Hey, Coach, were you a little surprised at how many times Ventura came out throwing?
No, I wasn't surprised. Ventura's a very explosive, well-balanced offense. They're going to, try to do what they believe that they need to do to attack our strengths or our weaknesses, and so I was not surprised that they threw. It was one of the things that we talked about in our staff meeting was, making them play, uncomfortable ball, and so if we could force those long third down situations, which obviously going to make you as an offense a little bit more predictable, it gives us a chance on defense to be more precise with whatever calls we're making in that scenario. And so I was not surprised that they threw the ball. They tried, they ran the ball too, they ran the ball and they threw it, and our defense stood up in those critical moments, got off the field on third down, forced those turnovers. And so when that happens, sometimes your offense struggles a little bit to find some rhythm. And so once you lose that rhythm on offense, it becomes a little bit more difficult to execute consistently. And so I thought our defense and Coach Bridges did a great job of keeping their offense off balance Saturday evening.
Yeah, we talked about the offensive line, we talked about the special teams, and Coach Bridges, and it was a fun game to watch because there was a chess game within the game that was happening the entire time, right? Anytime the Ventura felt like the momentum was going to start swinging their way, defense would come up and step up and make a big play, whether it was a turnover, whether it was a tackle, whether it was a sack. So again, it was one of the more fun games that I've watched, again, just because of it kept changing, right? The momentum kept changing from one team to the other. And I think the way we ended it, the way we closed out the game is a good momentum leading into the next game, which we can talk a little bit about now, heading over to East LA College, who currently sits at 1-1. They recently beat Compton 54-0. Coach, what do you know about ELAC over there by head coach Bobby Godinez?
Yeah, I actually know Coach Bobby pretty well. We talk on the phone all the time, and you can get a chance to play some golf together during the off season. So I know him pretty well.
Who's the better golfer?
I'm definitely the better golfer.
There you go.
There's no doubt about that. It's going to be a hard fought battle. East LA plays a very physical brand of football. Bobby is known for having one of the toughest defense in the state year in and year out. Offensively this year, Coach Drum, they have a ton of weapons. They're really, really big up front. I mean, it's going to be a really, really good football game between two heavyweights who are going to go out there and go toe to toe. I'm excited about the opportunity to go compete versus them. They play in the North Conference, which everybody knows is like that blue and blues type conference. And so it's going to be a game of physicality. And, we're challenging our guys right now to set the tempo early, come out and be physical, go ahead and match their physicality, match their energy, start fast, compete the whole time, and trust the process and just find a way to get it done on the road.
Absolutely. Yeah, they are definitely big up front. I mean, I was looking at their roster the other day, and I believe they have 4 offensive line guys that are over 6'7". They are definitely a big team. Coach, well, appreciate your time. I know that you guys are heavy into film studies right now. We'll touch base the next couple of days, and also let's go get them this Saturday.
All right, boy. I appreciate you.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
All right, now.
Appreciate you.